Hi everyone. So today we have a new moon in Leo. And with any new moon, it's a really great time to try something new, start new things, release old things. It's the beginning of new cycles. The new moon cycle is the beginning of very exciting things. And especially with it being in Leo, it's a really good time to hold your vision because Leo makes us feel very confident and it makes us believe in ourselves. So, this is a really great new moon to use if you're trying to hold a vision and manifest something, anything new. So, I'd like to start with a planet dice to see if there's any other energy besides the moon energy in Leo that we're meant to work with during this cycle. So we rolled Neptune, and Neptune can be about our sacrifices. It can be somewhat of a confusing energy, but at the same time, it's meant to hold you back so that you can find your inspiration. So it's kind of like the Hanged Man energy in the tarot, where it's holding you back from doing something because maybe perhaps you're not seeing it right. So this is taking me back to that energy of you having to believe in yourself. So maybe there is something you've been meaning to do or wanting to do, but you weren't able to believe in yourself fully enough to really hold that vision of whatever it is. And I think the energy of Neptune is really going to help you here. So I have 3 Oracle decks here. I want to start with a Kipper card. So we have marriage. And so marriage can be about your marriage or your commitments, your contracts, but this can also just be things that you're coupling up with. So for example, you can say that you're married to your phone, these types of analogies. So we'll see how it all works out. And also that's the number 3. So the number 3 could be significant to you. But let's see what the Lenormand system wants to tell us. So we have the fish, and the fish is the card of abundance. And this can be about money, but we don't really know that yet. Hopefully this can be an abundance of love or an abundance of belief in yourself, an abundance of confidence with Leo. But finally, let's pull an animal spirit guide card, and then we can really get into the tarot to see about the energies of this new moon in Leo. So we have the grouse. And it says, express yourself through rhythm and movement by drumming and dancing. So some of you could be musicians or dancers. You could be some kind of artist. And there are creative expressions that are wanting to come through with this energy of the new moon in Leo. And this is what I'm talking about. It's about bringing new things into your life. So if you've been thinking about trying to create something creative, then it feels like there's going to be an abundance of this. And there could be a partnership involved because we did pull the marriage card. So if there's something that you feel like you've not been looking at correctly when it comes to perhaps the commitments in your life, partners in your life, a lack of abundance of something or a lack of creativity, with this Neptune energy, it may be that you're just not looking at something correctly. So, but let's start with the tarot. Did you guys see that King of Pentacles underneath the deck too? So that is also a card of abundance. But let's see what wants to come out. So we have the Empress, the High Priestess, Judgment, 4 of Cups. I might flip that Judgment card over, but we'll just remember that that was Judgment. Underneath, 4 of Wands, 5 of Swords, Knight of Swords, 10 of Cups. Underneath everything is the 5 of Pentacles. So this 5 of Pentacles energy is one of feeling like an outsider. It could sometimes be imposter syndrome. And so again, it's this energy of perhaps you needing to see something differently about yourself that you're not seeing just quite clearly yet. And also this is about, sometimes the 5 of Pentacles can be about holding yourself back. and not letting yourself flow. So this can be a lack mentality type of energy, but we're going to see how it all fits together, how it all makes sense in the overall story. But I do really get the sense that there is something here that you're just not quite seeing super clearly. And it may be because of this Five of Pentacles in your energy. You are really being asked to focus on the amount of growth that you have already had. And again, I'm being drawn with the Empress to say that you are creating something, because there's a 3 in this marriage card, there's a 3 in this Empress card, and the 3s are all about creating and expanding. The Empress is a very expansive energy. So if, for example, you're creating something, if it's a passion project, if it's a platform, if it's a business, if you're writing a book, if you're writing music, if you're dancing, whatever this creative endeavor is for you, the Empress is really asking you to focus on the growth you've already had. So what parts of those creations have you already birthed into the world? The Empress is really asking you that. And she's coming in with the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is a card of celebrations and milestones, that you're celebrating the milestones that you've already reached. It reminds us that it's still just a 4 and there's still a long journey ahead. But it's also the card of marriage. So it makes me feel like there is something to celebrate, something, 2 people coming together in whatever way that is for you, that you didn't maybe think of before. Maybe you're meant to business partner up with someone, or maybe you're meant to come to some kind of a collaboration with someone when it comes to your creations. And it feels like looking at what you've already done and celebrating really deeply those milestones you've already hit, this may help you to solidify or understand the bonding perhaps that has come out of this with another person, that maybe you weren't looking at that person as someone you would typically collaborate with or want to collaborate with or partner up with. So it may be that this feeling like you're an outsider, that maybe you didn't feel confident enough to pull in this partner, or you didn't think you were good enough to pull in this partner. And that's where I'm thinking this imposter syndrome is sort of coming through here. But I feel like your creations that you've already began and the milestones you've already hit are exactly what's bringing this person in. There's definitely some bonding with the marriage card and with the Four of Wands. I can see you confiding in someone. There's like an intimate kind of setting, and I don't necessarily mean a romantic intimacy, although it could be. There's nothing here to suggest that it's not. But I mean an intimacy in a way where you're really confiding and creating with another human being because you have the same passion for whatever this is. But I think your challenge is the High Priestess, because the High Priestess is coming in with the Five of Swords. And so this is really telling me that you feel like you want to have hope about this thing that you're trying to launch off the ground, but you're not really listening to your intuition. So again, your intuition is telling you, yes, you are good enough. And yes, there is a person out there that you can collaborate with, and no, you are not an imposter. You are the real deal. But the problem with the High Priestess is she whispers these things to you. She says them so quietly that you're not sure that that's even what she said. So you can't really listen to the High Priestess if there's any kind of noise in the background. And I'm seeing the Five of Swords here in the background of the High Priestess. And this Five of Swords is really you just talking yourself out of doing this thing, or partnering up with this person, or getting into this collaboration. So there's a strong need with the High Priestess showing up here for you to really use your intuition and your intellect, because there are swords here. I'm seeing swords here too, that your intellect will help, but don't let your intellect talk you out of something. To really set that aside and really listen to your intuition on this, because the intuition, the High Priestess always whispers. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to completely miss what she says, but she offers the best advice. So she's going to be able to give you the answer to your questions, or the answer to your problems, or to be able to tell you that, yes, you are good at this, you are good enough, and look at the growth you've already had. And there's a person who appreciates you, but if you're talking yourself out of it, you're never going to hear her whispers. So, with the Judgment and the Knight of Swords, there's a strong message coming through about you really having some kind of an epiphany. And I think it's coming in the form of information from another person. And this is where I think this marriage card is going to tie in, because this Knight of Swords is another person in this reading. So, whatever you're not seeing with the Judgment card is about really listening to your higher self instead of your 3D self. 3D self, higher self. So, it feels like you're not going to be able necessarily to get this information without the help of someone else. Marriage card. So, because you keep talking yourself out of it and keep talking yourself out of it and keep talking yourself out of it, and you're not really seeing with your higher lens and your third eye and your intuition, you're not seeing it, you're not hearing the whisper because of these 5 of Swords in your own head, that it's going to come in the form of another person. And that's what we said with the marriage card. So I think there is a message that's going to come in for you where this person is going to help you trust your instincts because of what they say to you. The Knight of Swords is the carrier of truth. He holds this sword of truth. And it doesn't mean that the person you're coming in is male. There's no gender in the Knight of Swords. It's just the energy. Someone bringing in the truth, carrying a sword of truth so you can see the situation for what it truly is. And that may help to wake up your higher self, your upper chakras, your third eye, your intuition, to really help you understand and integrate those parts of yourself that you were not believing in. And that is exactly what the new moon in Leo is about. It's about believing in yourself and holding those visions. And that's exactly what this reading is telling us. So I think your advice here is to just be calm. The 4 of Cups is a very strong card for meditation, but it's also a card of extremely stable and balanced emotions. So the more quiet you can get, the more balanced your emotions you have, that's exactly when your true happiness is going to start to fly in with the 10 of Cups. That's when you're going to see all this expansion and growth. You're going to continue to expand, because remember we said you're at a 4 right now because you're talking yourself out of going past a 4 because you feel like you're an outsider. This person's going to come in, whoever this collaborator is, partnership, whatever this is, with the truth about yourself and your potential, and you're going to see that 4 become that 10 that we're talking about. That this 4 of Cups is really going to help you get that clarity and truth that the High Priestess and the Judgment card are trying to give you, that revelation that you need to honor and protect yourself and to have the determination to complete this, to go all the way to the 10 with whatever this is you are creating. And I think you're going to be really surprised with how suddenly things are going to change, because the Knight of Swords is a very fast-moving energy where this person's going to come into your energy and say, no, you're the most amazing thing I've ever seen at this particular thing that you're doing. You're writing a book, you're writing a song, you're making a business, whatever it is. There's going to be someone coming in hot saying, but you're the best at this. And then you're going to watch it jump from a 4 to a 10. So I think you are going to be pretty shocked by how suddenly this comes in, how fast this news comes in. You are certainly going to be surprised because the Knight of Swords just appears out of nowhere because they're that fast. It's the thought energy. So think about how fast you can think of something. You can think of something like that, right? It's instantaneous. And that's what I'm feeling like. This person's going to just come in so fast that you didn't even see it coming. And that information is going to lead to your transformation and then ultimately to this 10 of Cups. It's the most fulfilling thing you can do. And that's why I believe we pulled Neptune, because Neptune is really asking you to pause until you have all of the information. You can't really move forward when you're in a 5 of Swords and a 5 of Pentacles energy. You have to pause and look at it clearly. And if you're not looking at it clearly, they're going to bring in some kind of a messenger to help you do that. So let's use another tarot deck to try to find some more energies that would like to speak up. So the Empress and the 4 of Wands are with the Queen of Pentacles. So I'm going to flip this over, but the Queen of Pentacles is very practical, very generous. So I feel like, again, that there is some lack mentality that you're in, because you're showing up as the Queen of Pentacles, but your underlying energy is a Five of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles never feels a Five of Pentacles because she knows her value, she knows her worth, she's confident about what she brings to the table. Where Five of Pentacles energy, which it feels like you're sitting in right now, is this idea that you don't bring enough to the table, or you're not comfortable wherever you are in this project, or in even your self-value or your self-esteem. So you're being asked to focus on the fact that you are that. You showed up as a Queen of Pentacles. You showed up as an Empress. So it's this distorted way of looking at yourself that feels to me to be the problem, which I believe is exactly why we pulled Neptune, because Neptune is here to say you're looking at this all wrong. The High Priestess and the Five of Swords is with the Six of Rings, which is the Six of Pentacles. This is another card of generosity, but the Six of Pentacles is also a card of assistance. And this is what we're saying, that left to your own devices, you're not listening to your intuition. You're just not listening because of all this noise in your thinking mind. Your thinking mind is thinking, to the point where your High Priestess whisper can't come through. So this Six of Rings is confirming to me that there is some assistance coming in. So someone could say, hey, listen, there's someone trying to whisper to you here. Can you just like settle down for a minute and just listen? And that's why this person, this marriage, this partnership, this collaboration is meant to come into your life. So Judgment and the Knight of Swords is with the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords is generally about a karmic lesson, but it is the end of a karmic lesson. So whatever this lack mentality you were in, or whatever you were feeling that you really weren't allowed to progress, or you were having imposter syndrome, or whatever that is for you, the reason that you were stuck, this Ten of Swords is telling me that you learned the lesson, and that from here, the Ten of Swords is so irreversible that there's nowhere else to go but up from there. In the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, you see the sun beginning to rise on the horizon. And so this really is about some kind of a karmic lesson that you had to go through, perhaps about your own self-value, your own self-worth, or your worth in collaborating with another person, a partnership. But this person is here to say, no, wait a second, you already learned that lesson, so let's go. Let's move forward. Let's go grab our 10 cups. So the Four of Cups and the 10 of Cups is with Temperance. So this is about moderation. This is about equilibrium. And that's exactly what I was saying with the Four of Cups. Get some equilibrium, get some perspective, get some moderation in this and this energy. Like really try to calm your emotional state down, calm your nervous system down, meditate, talk to your guides. And I think that's exactly when you're going to have this person come in. This person, this 3D person is going to come in as the answer to your question. And again, be able to help you grab those 10 cups because you settled this thinking mind down and this lack mentality down. I do think this was a karmic lesson for you because we're seeing the 10 of Swords and 2 5s, and those types of combinations lead me to believe that there was a karmic lesson, some karmic spaghetti you were meant to untie. But this feels to me like you're doing that. And this person, there's a person here who is sent here to help you. Underneath the deck is the Knight of Swords again. So this is about eagerness. This is about tenacity. This is about answers. So there you go. That is your new moon in Leo reading. Will you please let me know how this was resonant for you? Consider subscribing to the channel if you like my vibe, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.